Now the quote workflow is, so let me just jump through the statuses for a second. So let's just jump through here and let's have a look at our invoice statuses. So let's just go through to our invoice statuses here. So our invoice statuses here are draft, which I've just created, haven't sent it, awaiting approval, awaiting payment, so it's been sent to the customer, partially paid or fully paid, and yeah, that's those bundles we had a look at before. And same with the quote statuses, draft, awaiting acceptance, really good way to keep track of all of your outstanding quotes and following up on those and make sure that they've been followed up on. And then you don't want anything sitting in there which isn't either accepted or declined or in a bucket, but you want them all actioned, right? You don't want just stuff sitting there and awaiting acceptance, which is really old. That's not a good thing to do. All right, so that's our quote statuses, that's quote statuses, invoice statuses. So the documents we have are invoice, quote. These are our quote status bundles here. We can see we've got a quote in here. A quote is very similar in an invoice structure. It's got a status here. I can say I've created my quote. I want to send it out to a customer. I hit the email quote. That goes out to a customer there. That's now been sent. So I know that's been sent to the customer and I'm going to move that to a status of awaiting acceptance. The reason we make these manually is you could also download a PDF and email the PDF yourself, and then you just want to update that to say that that's ready to go. So that quote's done. Internal notes, that's all good. So it's awaiting acceptance. So I'm going to close that. And then if I just want to keep track of my quotes, I click on statements at the top, I click on quotes, and I can see my quotes are sitting here in the awaiting acceptance workflow. So there's a history of my quotes. This is probably worth having a little look at. So the purchases are tax inclusive or tax exclusive. So that means when I enter in these sales amounts here, have I already added tax or not? So if it's tax exclusive, that means that tax hasn't been added. If it's tax inclusive, it means tax has been added. So then when we come through and we look at that amount there, we can see that the tax will be added. So tax exclusive, so we're going to add the tax amount there. So these are both tax exclusive amounts. So if I make it tax inclusive, we can see down here that that's tax inclusive, those sales amounts. So let's just go through and look at our actions. We've created them from the mobile app. Yeah, let's have a look at our templates. So let's have a look at, say we wanted to customize our templates. Let's go through and have a look at how we would change the layout of one of our invoices. So if we come through and have a look at one of our invoices now, we've got this invoice sitting up here. This is one of our invoices in here. Say we wanted to hide the price and we just wanted a description and a quantity there and the total showing at the bottom. That's a really common scenario. So we would go into settings, we go into templates, we come down here and we would set up, say, let's hide the price and hide the totals in there. We could set in some extra information here. Say we wanted to add the job notes, we could go job notes in here and we could use the placeholder here to go job notes. And then we can add any information from the job which is stored in these placeholders can be put into our template. There's also some formatting we can do in here if we want something bold. There's a little bit of formatting we can do here. It's really worth having a chat to Richard about how to do that because I don't really know exactly how those magic little strings, but you can do some styling in there just to make things look a little bit prettier for you. But the key thing is to get the right information in the right place. There we go. So now pricing's hidden and we're just showing the total. So if we go back and look at that same invoice we just looked at, oh, if I wanted to update my logo, I can update my logo here. But let's just go have a look at that invoice we created over here. So come down here and here's our invoice down here. We do PDF. We can now see that we're not showing that price information. We're just showing the quantity and the amount in there. So that's the invoicing workflows. So we've gone through the basic flows for invoices and quotes. If anyone has any questions, just type them in. That would be cool. I think that's the the gist of the invoicing flow. We're going to record this and we can send this out to you. So if you want a recording of any of our webinars, just send an email to info@scheduleflow.com, and we'll send you out any of these recordings at any time. Yeah, so because we cover the whole range of functionality in our recordings, so scheduling, the mobile apps, timesheets, automation. So any of these, we'll have webinars for each of these, and you can just request any of those webinars. So I'm just going to check to see if there's any questions. Oh, here's a question here. Can I send my invoice to my accounting package? Yeah, so that's a good question. So if you want to integrate through to accounting packages, the two direct integrations we have is Xero and MYOB. So you can just enable that. You need to log in for Xero, and once that's enabled, you can then come through to statements, and there will be an export to Xero option here. You just select the invoices you want, you go export to Xero, and those invoices with their line items will be sent through to Xero. Likewise with MYOB. With MYOB, you need 2 passwords. You need the MYOB web password, and then you need the password for each of your different accounts. So that's pretty straightforward. Also, if you have QuickBooks, we're working on that this year. That should be done by Christmas. And there's an integrating product called Sasant, which you can use to glue schedule flow to QuickBooks. So let's just see if we've got some more questions in here. Some great questions. Slow down. Oh, I'm going too fast. Yeah, I need a slow version. All right, I'll remember that, Glenn. Thank you very much. That's I know you guys' time is so important, but I really must slow down. Yeah, I get a bit excited when I'm doing a webinar. How to keep track of any quotes I've sent. So that's another great question. So if I want to come in here, I'm click on statements. I'm slowing down now. I'm click on quote, and these are the statuses of my different quotes. So these are my buckets of quotes. So awaiting acceptance. So that quote's been sent, and I can jump in here and I can see when it was sent. So if I just jump into history, I should be able to see it was set to awaiting acceptance on the 16th. So I know that I need to give them a little nudge. Well, wouldn't really, because it's the same day, but in a future day, I could give them a call, say, hey, look, have you got that quote? They say I need another copy, so I could email it off to them again. And if they accept it, then I can come in and say, hey, look, they accepted it on this date. So yeah, I can keep track of my quote workflows this way. Just another question. So I have flexibility as to whether I allow the tech in the field the ability to generate quotes or invoice. Yeah, that's right. So that's a good question. So how would we do that? So you can actually do that by going into settings, MISC, and I can set the authority level for my technicians. Can they do quotes? Can they do quotes and invoices? So I can set that down here in MISC settings as to whether they can create quotes or not. I'm logged in as a scheduler, so I can actually do everything as a scheduler. But if I was just in the technician role, so if my staff setting was just in the technician role here, so if I was a staff member and I was not also a scheduler, but I was just a technician, so if I'm in settings staff, if I was just a technician, then these settings apply to me. So I can say, hey, look, you can send a quote, but you can't send an invoice. And then I can hide pricing information from you as well. So if I didn't want you to see pricing information, I could hide that pricing information from the technicians, but they can still create quotes and invoices. So then I'll just go down here and I would save that. Obviously, they will see the PDF of the invoice, so they can see some in there, but not the individual line items. If we've hid the individual line item pricings, they just see the total. And that's if you let them create the invoices. Often the invoices are reviewed back in the office, and that's how they're managed. All right, I think that's good. I think, again, I've just got to write a big note for myself to slow down. Any questions, please send us questions to info@scheduleflow.com. Any problems, send an email to support@scheduleflow.com. And don't forget, there's this great little chat option down here where you can ask questions directly to our wonderful customer success team down there who will help you get onboarded. So yeah, that's invoicing and quotes. We've covered that off. We're going to do this recording and send it out to everyone so they can slow down my fast recording. And that's invoicing and quoting. Oh, I'll just mention one other thing really quickly. So there are other statement types we can do. So there's invoices, quotes. You can also come through and do purchase orders, and that's the same flow. You can get a technician to create a purchase order. You can approve it in the office and send it off to your suppliers, which can be set up in accounts. Suppliers, you can do reports. So you could do a SWIMS report in here, or you could do a JSA in here. And these are, again, customized in settings, so we can customize the templates for those 4 different document types. We're working on a new feature now to give you an unlimited number of templates, and that should be released in a couple of weeks. So you'll be able to do a style for SWIMS, you'll be able to do a style for a service report for a customer. Yeah, absolutely, that's going to be fantastic. Yeah, all right. I think that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, and I hope you get value out of this, and look forward to talking to you soon.